You know, if Thomas is outside spray priming models with our color primer sprays, it's time for another tutorial from the Army Painter. Army painting is in our DNA. We are the Army Painter after all, so let's put our speed paints to work on a unit of Necron Warriors. With the new Warhammer 40k 10th edition rules, characters can now lead units once again, so we'll toss in an Overlord and some Scarabs for good measure. You can see Thomas has done his simple zenithal prime using color primer matte black with a dusting of matte white over top, which helps to reinforce the shaded areas of the miniature as it's not covered during that overspray of white. Using Speedpaint Broadsword Silver, one of the industry first one-coat metallics, we'll apply a simple base coat all over the miniatures. Speedpaint metallics feature a 2-in-1 paint alloy, a combination of metal flake and dense pigmentation for a base coat and shade in one step. These metallics flow insanely smoothly and cover better than just about any metallic paint on the market today, which will definitely help us to get this unit base coated and ready for the tabletop in no time. And repeat this across the entire collection of miniatures. Working in small forces like this is a great way to prevent hobby burnout when you're painting an entire army. Next, we'll base coat the base. We're using Satchel Brown, which is a new color in the Speedpaint range. Depending on the theme and setting of your army, you may want to use a different color. For desert settings, Sand Golem is a great option. Jungle or swamp settings, you might want to use Burnt Moss as a base coat. Adding effects to an army is a great way to inspire theme and continuity in a simple yet effective way. Using Warpaints effects Dry Rust thinned with some clean water, you'll apply this all over the metal parts of your Necrons, which is virtually the entire miniature. They are space robots. Now just watch as the bright orange pigment runs into the recesses for a weathered, rusty effect. Go ahead and repeat this process all across the miniatures in your army. We all know that applying highlights can be one of, if not the most tedious and most time-consuming stages of army painting. Sure, you can use a brush and apply all of those edge highlights, but for a super simple effect, grab a sponge. Thomas is using Speedpaint Polished Silver that he's loaded up on some packing foam, and he's just going to dab this all over the miniature for a simple highlight and chipping effect. The sheen from the metallic Speedpaint will play off of the toned-down matte texture that the rust wash created for a very lively appearance. Careful not to overdo it here. You can always sponge or stipple more on later, but you can't remove it if you've added too much. Next, it's time to pick out all of the glowing orbs on the Necron. Start with a thin down base coat of Warpaint Matte White. You should only need one coat, but if necessary, go back and apply a second thin down layer once the first is dried. To continue with the effect, grab some Warpaints Air Fluo Gauss Green. You could use any of the fluo colors from the Air Paints range, and just because they are an airbrush ready paint doesn't mean that you can't use them with a traditional bristle brush. They're just thinned down for airbrush use. They're almost like a pre-thin paint. You'll just apply this smoothly all over the areas you've base coated in matte white. And don't forget the little scarabs either, those cute little buggers. On the Overlord, you can really see how Thomas works those fluo pigments into the recesses around the orbs, almost like a wash, while the raised portions just have a simple thin base coat. This is what really sells the effect. It's all about brush control. To finish everything off, grab your favorite dry brush and some arid earth and use this to add a quick and easy highlight to the base of your miniatures in your collection. Add some Battlefield's Tufts, which is the easiest way to base an army. They come in a variation of sizes, and I recommend using a couple different sizes for each base for a more natural look. There's more than one way to speed paint your Necrons. You can pause here to take a screenshot or continue to listen as I run through these options. Using Desolate Brown, you can create an even more weathered and war-torn look for your reanimated robot warriors. This eerie abomination of artificial intelligence relies heavily on a thinned-down glaze of Warpaint's Air Ocean Depths and Fluo Hot Pink, while this dynasty heavily utilizes Speedpaint Golden Armor and harkens back to the bygone days of the Indominus box set from the launch of Warhammer 40k 9th edition. Achieving tabletop quality results is easier than ever with the Army Painter Speedpaint. Try Speedpaint in its advanced formulation at your friendly local game store, trusted online retailers, or at www.thearmypainter.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the Army Painter for your chance to win an entire Speedpaint rack, along with loads of other cool prizes along the way as we try to reach 100,000 subscribers.